Nicki Minaj has been hinting that Jay-Z is the most evil person in the music industry for a decade now.
After what went down at the 2026 Grammys, Nicki finally lost her cool, and what she dropped on Jay-Z had the whole industry spinning. Word is, she's saying Jay and Queen B were out here trying to pull some slick power move, boxing her out and acting shady behind the curtain. Once that footage hit the timeline, it was chaos everywhere. Fans, celebs, and blogs couldn't stop talking. The Grammys were supposed to be all about the music that night, right? The 2026 show had everything set up like a dream. Red carpet shining, flashes popping, and every major artist in the game showing out at the Crypto Arena in Los Angeles. It was February 2nd, 2026, and Trevor Noah took the stage for what he said was his 6th and final time hosting. The crowd was hyped, the lights were blinding, and the vibe was electric. But then, one single joke flipped the whole energy on its head. As the cameras started sweeping across the crowd, you could literally see it. Some folks laughed way too nervously, others froze up, faces tight like they knew something was about to pop off. And when the next moment hit, the entire internet went wild. Clips everywhere, theories dropping non-stop, and everyone trying to figure out what just happened.
John Legend, Billie Eilish, Phineas, Nicki Minaj is not here. She is not here. She is still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues.
Actually, Nicki, I have the biggest. I have it. Everybody's saying it, Nicki. I know they say it's you, but it's me. Wop, wop, wop. Look at it, baby.
The whole crowd went wild like they just seen a plot twist live on TV. Cameras caught Chrissy Teigen throwing up a big thumbs up, clearly celebrating the fact that Nicki Minaj wasn't in the building. And right next to her, John Legend was sitting cool watching it all unfold while the audience cheered like it was some kind of inside joke. Just think about that for a second. The crowd at one of music's most prestigious award shows was actually hyped that one of hip-hop's most iconic and decorated female MCs didn't even show up. That kind of energy has social media lit within minutes. But Trevor Noah, he wasn't done stirring the pot just yet. He kept the jokes rolling and suddenly dropped what people called a dead-on impression of President Donald Trump. The whole room cracked up, some out of shock, others out of straight disbelief. And the punchline? It was about Nicki showing up in Washington, D.C. just a few days before the Grammys, where she'd apparently been spotted kicking it with President Trump himself. The crowd couldn't believe it. The joke was all about Nicki pulling up to Washington, D.C. just days before the Grammys, where she'd been seen hanging out with President Trump. She even posed up with him, smiling like it was nothing, and boldly called herself his #1 fan. Word is, she got blessed with what she called a gold card visa, and she was having deep talks with U.S. officials about the struggles facing Nigerian Christians. But now, here she was, being turned into the punchline of a Hollywood joke. The crowd laughed, but Nicki, she was not laughing one bit. What nobody inside that arena could have guessed was that this single moment would spark one of the wildest rants the music world's ever seen. While the Grammys was still going down live, Nicki jumped online and started firing off post after post, almost 24 in total. She completely hijacked the night's online buzz while other artists were performing and collecting trophies. Forget the winners, everybody was locked in on what Nicki was saying on X. She called the Grammys a ritual and said straight up that God Almighty would reveal himself to him. Then she took it up another level, declaring that every tongue that rises against her in judgment shall be condemned and put to shame. It was intense, dramatic, and impossible to ignore. But that was just a warm-up, because what she dropped next had everyone absolutely stunned. Nicki started posting throwbacks that had the internet losing its mind. She posted images allegedly showing Jay-Z with Aaliyah when she was said to be around 15 or 16, while he was 27. Then she followed up with old-school photos of a young Beyoncé with Jay-Z from the late 90s. The message was loud and clear. Nicki was calling out serious age gap issues and putting major accusations on the table. No filter, no hesitation. She straight up labeled him a predator in front of millions online, and everyone was glued to their screens. The media went into full panic mode trying to keep up. Forbes called her online outburst a full-on MAGA rant, while Boss called it democrat delusions, and Rolling Out said she hijacked the Grammys completely. But here's the wild twist. No one wanted to talk about the fact that Nicki Minaj became the most searched artist in the world on Google that night. She didn't just trend, She dominated the entire digital space, beating out every artist who actually won a Grammy. While others stood on stage clutching trophies, Nicki was running the internet from thousands of miles away. She wasn't even invited to the ceremony, yet she took over the whole conversation without stepping foot in the building. That's not luck, that's pure power. That's real influence, and that's exactly why certain people in the industry wanted her silenced. But make no mistake, this explosion didn't just come out of thin air. This was years of tension, quiet shade, and business beef finally blowing up for the world to see. The 2026 Grammys weren't just an award show that night. They became the stage where Nicki Minaj decided to flip the whole industry on its head.
So in a series of tweets, Nicki Minaj is claiming that Jay-Z owes her 100 to 200 million so far. She said there, hashtag Jay-Z, you ruined hip-hop, you ruined football, you ruined basketball, you ruined touring, you ruined Instagram, you ruined Twitter. The jig is up.
This drama had been bubbling for nearly a decade. This wasn't just industry tension, this was personal. Nicki was done holding back, and she was ready to put names on everything. The Grammy crowd had cheered because she wasn't there, laughed at jokes thrown her way, and even threw up thumbs up when her name came up in a negative light. But what they didn't realize was that Nicki Minaj was gearing up to expose secrets that some powerful people had been desperate to keep buried forever. She came straight for Chrissy Teigen, calling her out over that shady thumbs up moment. Then she went after Lizzo, throwing wild shots, saying she lost 300 pounds just to sell 300 albums. She even called out Trevor Noah, claiming he was hiding his truth and needed to stop fronting. Nicki was naming names with no hesitation, letting everyone know she was not afraid of industry pushback. But those jabs, they were just warm-up shots, because her real target was Jay-Z. Nicki claimed that he owed her hundreds of millions of dollars, saying he'd been using his power to crush other people's careers and control entire industries. She wouldn't let up. His name kept popping up all night and in every post that followed. Nicki told her fans, "Y'all need to understand these people been doing horrific things just to gain and keep power." She even told her followers to rethink their votes, saying people needed to open their eyes to what's really happening behind the curtain. Then she hinted at doing some story times, saying she'd been trying to warn people for years, but kept getting silenced. And just when everyone thought she was done, she dropped a massive business announcement that sent shockwaves through the entire industry. Phones were lighting up, blogs were scrambling, and fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. Nicki wasn't just talking anymore, she was making moves that nobody saw coming. Nicki came out swinging, declaring she wouldn't be dropping another album until her contract got fully renegotiated and until she exposed every bit of the sabotage she's been dealing with. She mentioned a serious RICO situation, hinted at discovering Billboard manipulation, and made it clear this wasn't just about personal beef anymore. This was a full-blown war against the entire music industry machine. That night, meant to celebrate music and talent, turned into the moment the dark side of the entertainment world got dragged into the spotlight. Nicki Minaj wasn't backing down, she was heating up. She said the system owed her the bag they'd been hiding and that she was tired of being silenced by people in power. The internet couldn't look away. But to really understand why Nicki went nuclear on Grammy night, you gotta rewind back to 2015. That's when Jay-Z launched Tidal, the streaming service that was hyped to change how artists got paid forever. Nicki Minaj was one of the original artist partners on that deal and reportedly got a 3% equity stake in exchange for her promo and exclusive content. She was there at the launch, posing up with Jay-Z and Beyoncé, repping the platform heavy to her massive fan base. Nobody pushed it harder than her, except Beyoncé herself. Then 2021 rolled around, and Jay-Z sold Tidal to Square for a massive $302 million. On paper, that should have been a life-changing payday for all the artist partners who helped build the platform from the ground up. But according to Nicki, things didn't add up, and what she discovered after that sale would set the stage for everything that exploded at the 2026 Grammys. But according to Nicki, things didn't go down the way the headlines said. She claimed she got a quiet phone call telling her there was no real money made from the Tidal deal, and then came the insult. They allegedly offered her just $1 million to stay silent about the whole thing. 1 million after years of promoting and building the platform. Nicki said no way, she wasn't letting that slide.
Well, she felt like Lil Wayne. She feels like Lil Wayne should have been the performer at the Super Bowl in New Orleans. So she said they don't want you to see it when I'm liking. So that feature was demolished. Listening devices, cameras, car tags, pages you don't follow under the following section of X.
Fast forward to July 2025, and Nicki finally went public with everything she'd been holding in. She jumped on X and tweeted that she'd done the math herself, saying the deal was worth somewhere between $100 and $200 million already. She called on Jay-Z to settle this karmic debt, saying the interest was only stacking higher and higher every year. And even while calling him out, she threw in that he was still in her top 5, a slick little backhanded compliment mixed right in with a demand for what she said was hers. But then, Nicki took it way beyond money talk. She started making wild claims that stretched far past business, saying Jay-Z and Roc Nation were behind the downfall of hip-hop, football, basketball, touring, Instagram, and even Twitter. Yeah, she said all that. That's one outrageous list of accusations. How could one man or one company have that much reach and control? The internet went crazy trying to piece it all together, and nobody could tell where the truth stopped and the drama started. The football angle Nicki brought up tied straight into one of the wildest Super Bowl controversies ever. When Kendrick Lamar was announced as the 2025 halftime performer in New Orleans, fans were shocked because everyone thought the hometown hero, Lil Wayne, was finally getting his moment. Nicki went straight at Jay-Z, accusing him of snubbing Wayne out of pure ego. She said, he's denying a young black man what he rightfully earned in this game just to feed his own pride. According to Nicki, Jay-Z's old beef with Birdman, Drake, and herself had now spilled over onto Wayne, and she wasn't about to stay quiet about it. Then she took it a step further, dropping some very specific claims about how her music was getting buried. Nicki said her feature on Lil Wayne's Carter 6 album on a track called Being From In On It was being purposely hidden by the powers that be. In that verse, she even spits bars about the NFL firing certain people, only to hit them up later, clearly throwing shade at the Super Bowl decision. She claimed that people behind the scenes didn't want fans to see what she was liking or reposting online. She said her features were getting demolished before release and hinted that she was being heavily monitored. Nicki even mentioned listening devices, cameras, car tags, and pages being watched, basically saying she was under constant surveillance. It was wild stuff, part industry conspiracy, part personal crusade, and fans couldn't tell if this was a warning shot or a full-blown expose. Nicki wasn't backing down. She told her barbs to save every single piece of info whenever they got flagged or suspended online. She started reposting fan theories that claimed Jay-Z had deep ties to social media platforms, especially after his alleged involvement when Twitter was sold to Jack Dorsey. According to Nicki, her fans were being silenced. Some said whenever they tweeted in support of her or used hashtags for her new song, the algorithm would mysteriously bury their posts. But then a big question started floating around. If Roc Nation really controlled all these platforms, why couldn't they suppress the negative stories about themselves from spreading? That's exactly what the Breakfast Club hosts asked when they covered the drama. They said, if they can suppress stories, wouldn't they suppress the ones that make them look bad first? And honestly, that's a fair question.
So, over the weekend, Beyoncé took her tour to Paris, and of course, all of the celebrities popped out, but one of the biggest names that people were excited to see, he's at every tour stop, but Jay-Z actually came out on stage with Beyoncé in Paris. Now, this is a big deal for several reasons. It has been 7 years since they have performed on stage together.
Still, the timing around everything had people talking. Just when Nicki and her fans were turning the internet upside down with these claims, Jay-Z suddenly popped up in Paris. Out of nowhere, he made a surprise appearance at Beyoncé's tour, his first time performing with her on stage in 7 years. The moment he walked out to Crazy in Love, the crowd absolutely erupted. Cameras flashing, fans screaming, it was a total scene. Then Jay-Z performed another track while in Paris, keeping all eyes on him. Some fans started to connect the dots, saying this move wasn't random at all. They theorized that the surprise performance was strategic, a way to shift the spotlight off Nicki's accusations that were blowing up online that same weekend. Whether that's coincidence or calculated distraction, people still can't agree, but the timing had everyone suspicious. Nicki didn't hold back. She went straight at Desiree Perez, the CEO of Roc Nation, calling her out by name and even giving her the nickname Det. Nicki accused her of doing some shady things to black people and demanded to know why wasn't she out there marching with her fellow Mexican immigrants. But then Nicki quickly corrected herself, saying Perez was actually Cuban, and that made her next point hit even harder. She reminded everyone that Perez had been pardoned by President Trump, so she really couldn't throw too much shade at that administration. Nicki brought up Perez's documented criminal past, which is no secret. Back in 1994, Perez got caught up in a conspiracy case involving 35 kilos of a controlled substance, and according to official records, she cooperated with the U.S. Attorney's Office as an informant. That move got her labeled a snitch by a lot of folks, and she later did time for a parole violation, before eventually receiving that full presidential pardon from Trump on his last day in office. Some people even started speculating that Jay-Z might have pulled a few strings or cut a deal behind the scenes to make that pardon happen, possibly tied to his political endorsements. Then Nicki took it up another notch. She reposted an interview with DeMaurice Hadley, who happens to be Perez's estranged daughter. In the clip, Hadley accused her mother of unlawfully locking her up in a mental health facility under Florida's Baker Act. Nicki drew a parallel to that and her own swatting experiences, those fake emergency calls that sent police rushing to her house. The connections she was drawing were wild, and it made the whole situation feel way bigger than just industry beef. It was starting to look like something out of a political thriller. Nicki started connecting the dots and drawing parallels that had everyone talking. She speculated that Roc Nation had used its power to damage her reputation, the same way DeMaurice Hadley claimed her own mother, Desiree Perez, had tried to destroy hers. Nicki tweeted, asking straight up if it wasn't strange that Perez's own daughter said she'd been repeatedly hit with false statements just to get her locked up in a mental facility. Then Nicki followed that up with another bomb, saying it was funny how they allegedly tried to frame Perez's black son-in-law by claiming he was hurting Hadley, just to get him locked up too. In Nicki's eyes, the similarities were crystal clear. She felt the same tactics were being used on her: lies, false reports, and power moves to control the narrative. And she wasn't done. She kept piling on the accusations. Nicki claimed Jay-Z lost his temper when she refused to hand over a beat she already had legal paperwork for. She said a track she made with The Weeknd on her Queen album was originally hers, but Jay-Z allegedly stepped in and said that beat belonged to Beyoncé.
I'm wondering why Roc Nation don't sue Nicki. They're quick to kind of support Meg and sue a blogger who doesn't have anything. Why not sue Nicki? That's kind of odd. Nicki Minaj also linking up with Trump, getting her gold card. Also, we haven't talked about this much, but Nicki Minaj, got into a spat versus Don Lemon, and then he got indicted and arrested.
Then came another heavy claim. Nicki says she got hit with a lawsuit for hundreds of thousands over a track with Nas that never even dropped, all because of what she called Jay-Z's jealousy. It was pure chaos online. Fans, blogs, and even insiders couldn't keep up with all the twists. But one big question kept floating around. If Roc Nation really believes Nicki's lying, why haven't they just taken her to court? She's been blasting them publicly for months now. People pointed out how quick they were to back Megan Thee Stallion and even sue a random blogger with no money. So why not go after Nicki Minaj? That silence was loud. And as some fans said online, when powerful people don't sue, it usually means one of two things. Either they know they don't have a case, or maybe, just maybe, there's some truth hiding in what's being said. Nicki's political moves have turned her into one of the most unpredictable and talked about figures in entertainment. Recently, she found herself in a heated public clash with Don Lemon, the former CNN anchor, after he called her out for openly supporting Trump. Don questioned why members of the LGBTQ+ community and African Americans would still back her after her political shift, and Nicki didn't take that lightly. Their back and forth online got messy fast, with both sides throwing sharp jabs that had social media glued to the screen. But then, things took an even wilder turn. Not long after that feud, Don Lemon got arrested on charges of conspiracy against religious freedom, allegedly tied to a protest at a church. He was later released after a judge questioned the case's legitimacy, but Nicki's fans were convinced she somehow had a hand in how that all went down. They swore it was too coincidental to ignore. After his release, Don Lemon publicly addressed the situation in an interview. He didn't hold back either. He questioned why Nicki felt bold enough to come for him when she'd once been criticized by the Catholic Church herself for that unforgettable 2012 Grammy performance. He straight up called her a hypocrite and took another shot, saying she came to America as a kid and might not have formally registered for citizenship under Trump's stricter rules, implying she could face the same enforcement she supported. But according to Nicki, that's not even possible because she's got that gold card status now. She says she's in a whole different bracket of protection with special privileges that keep her untouched. Her fans started bragging online that her ops can't reach her, turning the whole thing into another viral moment that had everyone talking once again. Even Elon Musk jumped into the mix, publicly showing love to Nicki on X. He retweeted a few of her posts, dropping nothing but American flag emojis, and the internet went wild. The richest man in the world and the most powerful woman in hip-hop seemingly standing together against the same establishment. That's a combo nobody could ignore. Fans started saying this was a whole new alliance. Money, influence, and attitude all rolled into one unstoppable force. Meanwhile, over at the Breakfast Club, the hosts decided to keep it real and give what might have been the most balanced take on the entire saga. They said straight up, if somebody owed them $200 million, they wouldn't be tweeting about it, they'd be in court. They made it clear that if Nicki ever actually took that battle to the courtroom, it would be the biggest entertainment lawsuit of the decade, and they promised they'd pull up to watch it unfold in person.
So he's blaming Nicki Minaj as being like, maybe he has this theory that because Nicki has the ear of Trump controls the DOJ, right? Maybe that's what he's thinking, that Nicki's voice is that powerful now.
But they didn't stop there. They also pushed back on some of Nicki's heavier political claims. When she said Jay-Z never campaigned for Kamala Harris, they reminded everyone that Jay has a long history of political involvement. He went hard for Barack Obama, even dropping an entire track in his honor. And he was also out there publicly supporting Hillary Clinton during her run. So, as they put it, the idea that Jay-Z doesn't support black causes or get involved politically just doesn't hold up when you look at the receipts. Still, even with all the debate, one thing was clear. Nicki and Elon moving in sync had shifted the energy completely, and the industry was definitely paying attention. One of the Breakfast Club hosts made a solid point that hit hard. They said, when you call somebody out for what they haven't done for the community, you better make sure you're doing equal or more yourself. Because that's the natural question, right? If you're pointing fingers, people are gonna ask, okay, but what are you doing? It was a fair take, and it put some perspective on the whole situation. They acknowledged that for Nicki, this wasn't just about politics or old industry beef. It was personal. This was about the Super Bowl, about standing up for Lil Wayne, and about feeling like her people were being disrespected. But when it came to the heavier accusations, they said plain and simple, claims that big need big evidence. Then came the photo, the one Nicki shared from 1996, allegedly showing Jay-Z with a young Aaliyah. That picture blew up online and got analyzed from every angle. According to multiple sources, Aaliyah had turned 17 on January 16, 1996, so unless the photo was taken before that date, she would have been 17 at the time, not 15 like Nicki originally implied. Jay-Z, meanwhile, would have been around 26 or 27 back then. Now, is a 26-year-old being photographed with a 17-year-old sketchy? A lot of folks online said absolutely, it looks wild no matter how you spin it. But even with all that noise, Dame Dash, who was actually close to Aaliyah, has gone on record multiple times saying he was the one who was really with her. He's admitted that Jay-Z might have tried to holler at her, but insists nothing ever actually happened between them. It's one of those situations where the line between rumor and reality keeps getting blurrier by the day. Dame Dash has always maintained that he was the one who was actually with Aaliyah first, but whether that makes things better or worse really depends on how you look at it. Then there's Beyoncé's story. She said she met Jay-Z when she was 18 and that they started dating when she turned 19. But here's where it gets messy. Some reports claim they first crossed paths back in 1997 when Beyoncé was just 16 and Jay-Z was pushing 30. That timeline has been debated for years, and fans still can't agree on what's fact and what's speculation. In interviews, Beyoncé's always kept it classy. She said they met through music, respected each other's craft, and that casual talk about collaborating slowly turned into something deeper. Still, that age gap conversation always circles back, especially now that Nicki's been reigniting old rumors. Nicki's been ringing alarm bells about Jay-Z for more than a decade. In a resurfaced interview, she was asked point blank, who's the most difficult person in the music industry? Nicki laughed and said she wanted to answer, but it would be so real that she couldn't. She literally pleaded the fifth. But then she dropped a cryptic tease, saying if she ever spoke those names, it would be explosive. She even hinted there were two names, two men whom she called infantile individuals, and promised she'd blow their spot up one day. Well, that day finally came, and Nicki wasn't lying. The spot has officially been blown up, and Nicki Minaj shows zero signs of slowing down. She's standing firm on her promise not to release another song until her contract gets renegotiated. And now she's saying the real sabotage is coming straight from Billboard itself. The drama just keeps building, and the industry can't look away.
If someone owed me $200 million, then I would be in court, not on X. And I guarantee you, if she ever took that to court, that would be a huge story.
Yeah,
I agree.
Lauren would get the first details as soon as it hit the court.
I would be at court for that.
He did campaign for Barack Obama crazy.
He did for Barack Obama.
He did a
for
verse
Kamala,
on
but
My
he did for
President
Barack.
is Black, but he definitely was out there for Barack.
Nicki says there's a full-blown RICO investigation happening right now that's about to expose everything. She's been telling her barbs to save every screenshot, every post, and every piece of proof that shows censorship or suppression on social media. She's even started calling out specific journalists and podcasters by name, demanding that they give her story the same level of coverage they give everyone else's scandals. According to Nicki, her documentary was sabotage because she dared to speak openly about the abuse she went through. She claims the industry has been deliberately stalling all her projects, trying to drain her pockets until she's desperate enough to crawl back for help. But Nicki's making it clear she's not breaking and she's not backing down. She said the higher-ups still think it's all a joke, but warned them that the destruction that's about to hit them isn't funny. She said, "I told them to leave me alone. Now they'll see why they should have just sat there and taken their meds." Meanwhile, the rest of the industry is staying eerily quiet. Jay-Z hasn't said a single word publicly. Beyoncé hasn't addressed a single accusation. Roc Nation hasn't filed any lawsuits, despite how explosive some of these claims are. That silence has people talking. Even the blogs Nicki's accused of protecting Jay-Z keep posting about the situation, but with a tone that clearly downplays her side of the story. And at the Grammys, Jay-Z and Beyoncé both showed up, looking calm and collected, even as these wild allegations swirled all over the internet. Yet neither of them said a word about it. Their silence has become the loudest part of this whole saga. Some say they're staying quiet to avoid giving Nicki's accusations more credibility. Others believe they're keeping their lips sealed because acknowledging her might open doors they've been fighting hard to keep locked tight. Either way, the tension's thick, and everyone's waiting to see who moves first. Nicki Minaj has officially positioned herself as the truth teller, the one fearless enough to expose what she says the industry's been hiding for years. Whether you believe every claim or not, one thing's undeniable: Nicki knows how to run the conversation. Her voice moves millions, her words shake the culture, and her influence reaches far beyond music. The world is watching as she paints herself as the woman the industry wants to silence, because, according to her, she knows too much. This battle between Nicki Minaj and the music industry elite is far from finished. If anything, it's only just heating up. She's promised story times, receipts, and revelations that'll flip the table on some of the most powerful names in entertainment. She swears she's going to expose every single person who crossed her. And if her track record says anything, she's not stopping until every secret is out in the open. So the real question now is, who's next, and how far will they go to try to shut her down? If you're ready for the next chapter of this wild saga, smash that like button and click the card on your screen to catch the follow-up video breaking down what Nicki's planning next. You do not want to miss what's coming.
I've been hinting that Jay-Z is the most evil person in the music industry for a decade now.
That's too.
Who is the biggest in the music industry?
I want to say, but it would be so real that I can't.